Hello, everyone. My name is Quila, and boy, do I have a story to tell you. I had a day the last couple of days. I was actually too tired to come on here last night and actually tell the whole story, which I really wanted to do, but I just had to go to sleep. It was that hard of a day, and it still kind of continued into today. So I'm just actually getting home, and now I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and get this story out so that way I can go ahead and get in my bed and just call it a night. So here's the story. Now, mind you, today is Saturday, I believe. Yeah, it's September 18th on Saturday. So everything started basically on Friday. Okay, so here goes the story. I set up my groceries to get picked up. That I go and pick up my groceries from the Walmart, and they do the service where they bring it out to your car and everything like that. So I had already scheduled it and put everything in the cart and everything like that, and placed my order. And I was supposed to pick it up at 6 p.m. on Friday. So far everything was fine. I wanted to leave the house at not the house. I wanted to leave at 3:00 in the afternoon because I wanted to make sure I took care of everything that I needed to take care of while I was out there. So that way, when 6 o'clock came, I will be just fine getting my groceries with no problem, and everything else is knocked out, and I can just go back home. Okay, so that's the start of the day. I didn't make it to my grocery yet, and I had to deliver because my kids, they do homeschool. And they've been in homeschool, not homeschool, but what K-12 is. I call it homeschool, but it's not homeschool. It's basically public school online. And they actually have been going there for 3 years, and they were supposed to turn in their books, mail them back to them with their shipping labels. And I still have not done that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use it today to go ahead and take those to the UPS store and take care of that while I'm out there. So I started doing that. And, so when I finished doing that, and I was like, okay, I still had time, so I'm gonna go to the P.O. box and check my mail. I haven't checked it in a long time. Like, I'll go months without checking my mail. So I went to my P.O. box and I found my mail. I looked through it and threw out the junk and all that stuff. And I get to my car insurance payment bill. I thought it was just, a statement that you normally would get, and I thought that's all it was, but something told me to open this message, and I did, and it told me my insurance for my car was canceled. And I'm sitting here like, what do you mean canceled? Because I know I pay my payments. I don't play with my payments, and for anything, I might be a week or two late, but if anything, I'm definitely making my payment during the month. So I'm like, no, I am not. It said I was 2 months behind. It said my last payment was not since July. And I was like, no, that ain't right. So I go straight to my phone, and I was like, let me, if it shows that I put out that payment on my bank, then I know I sent that payment out. So I was like, I know, because I don't forget my payments like that. I know that ain't right. So I was like, something wrong with y'all system, because this is not right. So I go on my phone and I looked up to see if it showed that I made that payment in August. Turns out none of my accounts showed anything for my Allstate payment. So I was like, oh my goodness, like, are you kidding me right now? So now my mind was shot because, like I told you before, my money's been real tight, and living in a hotel, this junk is not cheap. So with them, turning off the PUA and stuff, I had no income coming in, and I'm barely living off the last little bit I had saved. Because everything from PUA I was saving for the, hotel room payments and whatever bills I had to come out. And like if I needed some extra for groceries. So now I'm like, I'm down to my last few dollars. I just made my room payment. I don't have anything else coming in. I was like, I'm upset right now. I was really in a mode where I was just like, I got to figure out a plan. I don't know what's going on. I've been trying this affiliate marketing forever, and it's been 5 months and nothing gave me a cent yet. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know what to do. I'm sitting here like, the only thing I got left to do, mind you, I told you I do Grubhub. I have done Grubhub for the last few years, and then once COVID hit and it was starting to spread all crazy, I just, stopped doing it just to keep us protected and stuff like that. So now I'm like, I need to make a decision. I need to start back working. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be right now. So of course, after reading that and then my PO box payment was due at the end of this is due at the end of this month too. So I have all these bills piling up already, and I'm just like, I need to make a decision. I need to find a plan right now because I cannot let this stuff just follow me like this. And I'm not the one to just sit back and let it happen. I have to think of a solution and act on that solution before it happens. So while I'm sitting here trying to ponder this, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to go get my groceries. I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting for them to bring it out. I was actually there like a half an hour early, and they gave me my groceries before 6 o'clock even showed up. So I was already headed home by 6 o'clock. So now, the rest of the night was just shot for me because I was just like, I got to think of a plan. I got to figure out what to do. I have too much riding on me right now. And I just got in my bed and was just like, I had to think seriously. And it was just a lot. It was a lot. So the only thing that came to mind though was I started making sure my Grubhub app was working. And I started trying to figure out if people was posting on YouTube, anything about, is the sales really low or are they not making any good sales? I wanted to see, because it's been like almost 2 years since 2019. No, I want to say the beginning of 2020 in like February was the last time I worked for Grubhub. So I had the app still on my phone and I still made sure I kept it current. So that way, if I needed to, I can go back out at any moment without having to worry about reapplying or anything like that. So I checked the app, made sure everything was working fine, and I started noticing they started throwing out, like people throwing out their blocks, changing it through the night, and I started writing up a schedule. I didn't know I was going to go out to work the next day, but that's what happened. I ended up making a plan, and I told my kids, and I was like, hey, what do y'all think about going out to work tomorrow just to test it out to see if I could still make the money I used to make out there? They was all for it. They was like, yeah. So I built the schedule by the time the next morning started. Like I woke up, my cat woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I seen people was, and this is AM. So people was already throwing out their shifts and, what do you call it? Dropping their shifts. Yeah. So people was already dropping their shifts and I knew I can just grab some shifts. So I ended up grabbing from 11 to 9 and I was talking to the girls and I was like, do y'all feel anything about working all day like we used to? And they was like, no, because mind you, I had them out there with me since I started working anything. Like it didn't matter if it was Grubhub. It didn't matter if it was anything else that I was doing because I've never been the type to put my kids in daycare. My kids are teenagers now. They're not going in daycare. But when they was younger, when they were still in car seats, I was not putting them in daycare at all. So I will always work a job that I can take them with me. So they are used to being in the car. They are used to being on the road. They are used to not sitting in the house on a regular basis. And this sitting in the house thing is just wearing their nerves because they're used to being outside doing stuff and seeing things. So when I told them, we probably have to go back out to work really soon, they was all for it. They was just like, yes, tired of sitting up in here. So I was like, okay, well, I built a schedule and it's from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and it starts tomorrow. So they was all for it. And I was like, we just got to make sure everything's done before we go and everything. And mind you, my back tire on my right side is always going flat. It's like a slow leak some type of way to where I keep having to put air in this tire and I know I'm supposed to go get it fixed and it ends up being, I'm just like, it's not bothering me that much. I just don't get it fixed and I just wait it out because I'm like, as long as I can put air in it and I just go to the Wawa up the street and I'll sit there and put some air in it and then I can go run my errands and take it back home. And I don't drive anywhere for like, I'll probably get in the car once a month to take care of everything because of COVID and everything like that. So I really have not really been driving my car. So I'm like, I'm not worried about it right now. So all this came into play this Friday. Now, mind you, I had the schedule. We woke up, everything was taken care of. We get everything done in the home and we sit there and clean up everything, make sure the cats are straight because, we had these cats for maybe almost 6 months now and they're not used to us leaving. They're so used to us being home. This is the first time they actually see us gone for more than a few hours. So it was probably a lot on them too. And so we had to go. So we go out. The first thing, I turn on the clock a couple minutes early, and right away I got an order, and it was a $9 order, and I was like, yes. So I hurried up and go deliver that. First, I had to go put air in my tire because it was, going flat. It was pretty much flat. So the Wawa up the street is literally walking distance. So I went ahead and did that first, and then I go do the orders. And not too long after that, put it like this: the air pump that I went to, I couldn't get it to fill up all the way. I put 36 in my car, and that one only went to 34, and I was like, I couldn't push the buttons because for some reason they were broke. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to just do this. I'm going to put the 34 in there, and then I'm going to find another Wawa, and then I'm going to just put the rest, and I should be fine for the rest of the day. Because it was just a slow, teeny leak that lasts for like a couple of days before it's fully, completely flat again. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. So that was the plan. I put the air in the tire. I started working. The orders was good. From 11 to 2 o'clock, I believe. I was getting 9s. I got a couple of 10s, I think. And I think I got 1 7 because I was hoping it was going to be a double because it was at a restaurant that I just left and I was already delivering that order. And I was like, I'm not trying to take a 7. But I was like, well, maybe I think it was Chick-fil-A too. And I was like, well, maybe by the time I get back there, maybe it'll give me another order and I can make that a double. But it didn't happen. Not at all. So I ended up having 1 7. But the rest of the orders, y'all, I was psyched. I was so psyched because it's like the money just fell in my hands. After 2 o'clock, the 11 came in. Then there was a 14, there was a 13, there was an 18, there was a couple of 18s, there was a couple of 19s. I was just getting them back to back and I was just loving it. And all this stuff was just like falling in my lap for a second. Guess what happened? One of the orders that I was going to, it was an 18 something order. And I'm on my way to this Asian shop. And when I'm driving on the main road, all of a sudden I hear woo, 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 woo. And I'm sitting here like, what is that noise? Because the only time I heard something like that, it had to have been something with the tire. So my kids was like, yeah, it's your car. I said, are you sure that's my car or somebody else's car? They was like, no, it's your car. So I was only literally at the next light to go to the restaurant. So I went ahead and get to the light. I see people starting to follow me to make sure I get there or to let me know I got a flat tire. So I'm trying to get there as fast as I can and try to get out the car so I can check what's going on. Because I was like, that don't sound normal. Because usually when I get a flat, it's something else. It sounds like something else. And I'll feel when it goes flat. But this time, it was like, I don't know if it was because I was going a decent speed or what. But, so when I get there, this lady pulls me over and she's like, do you know you got a flat? And I was like, I thought I heard something. What side is it on? And she was like, it's the one. It was definitely the one that I keep having problems with. And I was like, okay, thank you. And so I go to the restaurant, check in that I'm there, and I look at my tire, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not dropping this order. And the first thing I usually do is call my sister, and she'll come out, but she's in like the next city over, and I have to deliver this order. And I was like, I'm not dropping this order to wait on her. So I was like, I got to think of somebody here. I got to figure out a plan. So I go into the restaurant, and I let them know I was here for the order. She said she was getting ready to back it up. So I was like, okay, cool. And I came back, and I went out to look at my car to see if there was anybody outside that I can at least talk to, like a grown man or something that looked like he knew what he was doing. But I couldn't find nobody. So I went back into the restaurant and I was like, can anybody help me? My tire is flat. I said, does anybody have a pump? And they all was like, no. The restaurant lady, she was asking around and they was like, no. And then this one lady, she was like, I think I have something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But I'm going to go check. And I was sitting here like, okay, thank you. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. So she goes outside and she takes a couple minutes. And then I'm, wondering like, what is she doing? Because I didn't see her come back in for a little bit. So I was like, okay, let me go outside and meet her out there. And she comes out with some Fix-A-Flat. And I was like, oh, like as flat as it is right now, it's completely completely flat. Like there was no life in this tire. So I was like, that fixed flat. In my head, I didn't say it. In my head, I was like, this fixed flat is not going to do nothing. But I just need something to get me to the Wawa to put some air in this tire because I know it should be fine. So she, I let her help. And the first thing she says is, am I your best bet right now? And I'm sitting here like, what? Like, that caught me off guard. She was like, am I your best bet right now? And I'm like, well, yeah, until I get to the Wawa. Yeah, you sure are my best bet right now. Thank you so much. And she was like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. And she had this very strong personality. It was kind of like she wasn't goofy sounding or anything. She was just very dry and, how do I want to say it? It was like a dry personality where she wasn't being silly. She was very blunt and very direct with her words, but she was pleasant at the same time. So it was like, it wasn't a threat or nothing like that or offending. So she was really nice. And I'm so thankful that she stepped out and tried to help as best she could. And the fixed flat actually put enough air in it to where I could not be riding on my rim. And I got to the Wawa just fine. So I put the air in the tire. Mind you, I'm still doing this order. So I haven't delivered this order yet. I get to the Wawa, wait in the line, put the air in the tire, go straight to this order. Now, I'm probably a little bit late, but it wasn't too much late, but it was enough where, I just don't do this. And it has to be something seriously wrong for me to be a little bit late because I do my orders very fast. So when I put the air in the tire, I hurried up and got to that order. Then I was like, okay, where the location was where she got dropped off, where her order got dropped off, it was right next to an AutoZone that I remember. So I was like, I'm just go there and find me some Fix Flat and see if I can go ahead and seal it up again, to top off whatever she did. So I did that. I went and bought some Fix Flat for like $15. So I put that in there. And mind you, in the process of delivering this order, I had another 18 that came in. And I said, I'm not dropping these orders for this problem. So I had the 18 that I just got through doing. And then I had another 18 after that. And I was like, okay. So I didn't know where it was going at all. I just knew I was not dropping it because I need that money. So after I put the Fix Flat in there, I drove it really slow for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, I got to go. And I go and take care of the order. And I was like, okay, it should be fine. And I made sure I kept checking to see if it was coming out or if the air was seeping out anymore or anything like that. And I had to go back again to the air pump at the same Wawa again. I somehow ended up back at the same area. So I went by there again and put some more air in the tire. I started seeing that it was coming out because I started hearing the tire. When I put the air in it, you could hear the air blowing back out of the tire somewhere around the tire. And I was like, oh my God, this is not the regular slow leak that I normally am used to. This is another hole. Like I felt myself drive over something when I was driving down this one road and I heard something pop. It was like a pop, like I rolled over a rock or something that popped out or something like that. But I was like, I hope that did not mess with my tire. I think that's what happened because all of a sudden now I had this hole in my tire and I don't know what happened, but that's the only one that rung a bell when I heard something pop away from my tire. So now I'm hearing the air just seeping out my tire really fast. And I'm like, it's not going to hold the air. How am I going to finish my night? I still got to go until 9 o'clock. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I did it though. Here's the thing. I did. I sat there. It wasn't like all this stuff started happening around maybe 6 or 7-ish. And I got until 8 o'clock. I want to say about 8:40. That's when the order started really getting slowed down. And it was like trying to throw out 7s and 5s. And it was just like, I'm good. I'm done for the night. And it's already 9. My shift ends at 9. My daughter had to pee really bad. And I was sitting here like letting her hold it for hours because I couldn't make it back to the house. And I'm not doing public bathrooms, not during COVID. No, I was already skeptical on public bathrooms anyway. But I'm sitting here like with COVID around. No, you're not going to a public bathroom. I'm going to make it around to the house and you can go there. And they was like, okay. I was like, let me know if you really got to go. And I will try my best to get around there. And she was like, okay. So she kept going to sleep anyway. So she wasn't worried about it. But she was letting me know she really had to go. And like by this time, all these hours just went by. It was like a few hours and she's still saying, I'm good. So all this stuff that was happening, it was a lot. I was panicking. I was trying to help her get work done. And all this stuff was just like, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I made it. And I was very, very happy that I did because guess what I made? that night on Friday. My first day back Grubhubbing. Guess what I made? I'm going to actually leave it up on the side of the screen too. But look at this right here. If you look right here, look at my orders, y'all. I made $202 all in one day. And remember, I told you already in another video, I had no problem making 200s because I always average that anyway on a regular basis. And I needed to prove to myself that even with COVID out here, the orders are still popping like that. And I needed to know for sure. And I'm so glad I did, because look at this. Do you see this? This is crazy. And look what my orders was looking like. Look at this over here. I had to sit there and show y'all this, y'all. Look at this. This is crazy. Look at the numbers. Ain't that nice? Like, y'all, when I say I was grateful, you just don't know. Like, I was sitting here like, thank you, Jehovah. This is crazy. But now I'm like in my head to where I'm like, yo, I can still do this, and I'm built for this. And I'm just like, I gotta get back out there. I gotta work. I seen and proved to myself that it still can be done with my record, and I'm always on point with my skills. So I'm like, yo, I think we need to go back out on a regular basis again. What do y'all think about it? And I asked my kids, and they was like, yeah, we want to do it. We could, yeah. So apparently they missed it. So I'm just like, okay, trying to get my mind right on, like, I have no choice really. I just gotta suck it up and do it, because I don't mind Grubhubbing. I just don't want to be around the people and risking getting contaminated and get my kids infected or anything like that. And it's just a lot, and it's nothing really I could do at this point right now. I have to go back out there. I have to work. I have to make the money to pay the bills. But guess what I did? When I found out that my car insurance was canceled and it said I was 2 months behind, and it turned out it was right because it wasn't out of my bank account. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, because I don't do this. But the first thing I did was the last few dollars that I had in my account, I went ahead and put it to 1 month, because I had at least enough to carry 1 month. And then I had to make the money for the second month to be fully caught up for them to reinstate my car insurance. So I know they're going to reinstate it, and I'm not worried about that, because, it just don't seem like they wouldn't to me. But I put the 90 on it as soon as I read that mail. And then I put another 90 on it when I finished the night out. And before I went to sleep, I had the other 90. So now my bill is caught up on that. And I am so happy that it is, because I can't Grubhub without no car insurance. I'm not going to do that. I'm not a reckless driver or anything like that. But, I got to make sure I'm covered too. So I got to make sure my stuff is right. And so far it's up to date. I just got to make sure they say I'm reinstated. I haven't heard anything from them yet, but hopefully in the next couple of days I hear something. They're usually quick on it, so hopefully by tomorrow I hear something. It is the weekend, so I might not hear it until Monday. I don't know. But that, on top of, my phone bill's getting ready to come out, my I keep wanting to say car, my P.O. box, all that has to be paid and stuff like that. And I need a couple things around the house, so it's a little things that's piling up on me. But you know what? I made $202 last night. I had to put the gas back in my car. So basically, I ran out all the gas just working from 11 to 9. And I had to put that back in there. This threw me, because I'm not used to putting over $50 in my tank just to fill it back up. That junk took $57 yesterday. And I was just like, what are you taking that much for? The price was only $2.99 per gallon. I'm sitting here like, is it just I just ain't been out here that long? I don't know. Because, I don't usually drive no more since COVID came around. So I'm sitting here like, is that normal? So I'm sitting here like, I don't know. Because I don't remember paying no $50-something like that. At the tops, it will be like 55. And I know 55 and 57 ain't that far apart. But I don't never remember seeing it that close to 60. So I was just like, okay. So that's a lot that came out. And then that came out of the 202. And I'm sitting here like, okay. So, because I cash out immediately. As soon as I finish my night, I cash out. So I paid for the gas. It was $57 out of that 202. And then I paid for the car insurance, the last bill that needed to pay, it was like $91 and some change. So I paid that. That came out of the 202. And then I was like, okay, with my car acting up when it comes to that tire, I was like, I need to find I can't work with that tire acting like that. So I was like, I got to get my tire done tomorrow. So now that has to come out of my money too. And the first thing I thought, I was like, I'm not going to have no money to show that I actually worked today. So the first thing I went to was call my husband, because I was just like, he could at least help with something like this. So I called him, and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm in the shower. Or no, he said, I'm about to get in the shower. And I was like, okay. I was going to call him back, but he was like, wow, what's up? And I was like, can you pay for me a tire? And he was like, what? He's thinking I'm talking about a brand new tire. And I'm like, no, because all I buy is used tires. I'm not about to pay that much money for no brand new tire when they keep acting up. So I was like, I just need a used tire. And the thing just went straight dead. I had to tell him the whole story. And he ain't the type to hear your whole story. He wants to keep cutting in your conversation and all that stuff when you tell the story. So he was just like, yeah, I'll get you the money. Just tell me how much it is. And I had to call around and find out what place I was going to go to. And I want to go to the same shop I normally go to, which was way on the other side of town, across cities. And I was just like, how am I going to get this car over there? The only thing I thought of was put some air in it, enough to keep it stable, and then try to get my butt over there as fast as I can before it leaks all out. That was the plan. That was the plan for today. Here's the other part of the story. This morning when I woke up, my husband gave me the money. I told him I was going to the shop that I normally go to, so he gave me the $40 for the tire. And I called the people and let them know I was coming today, and that I had to do an assembly. I knew I had to do the assembly online. But at the same time, I did not think it was going to take 7 hours for the assembly. And usually we go, if there was no COVID, we usually go to Richmond for our assembly. But this one is online. And it's still 7 hours. But I was assuming that it was going to be only like maybe at the most 2 hours or something. But no, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. It was 7 hours. And I'm up here telling the car shop, like, can you wait for me with that tire? Like, he said it was the last one. And I'm like, I really desperately need that tire. Can you hold it for me? And he was like, we'll hold it for you. Don't worry about it. We close at 7. It's fine. You're fine. Just get here by 7. We'll have it here for you. And I was like, thank you so much. So after the assembly, of course, we was at the assembly online and we watched it, and it was up until 7 hours. It stopped at like 4:15, and I was like, okay, girls, get everything ready. Let's go. 4:15 came around. I was like, get ready, clip the house. Let's go. We gotta go. We gotta make moves now. They wait for me to shop. I want to hurry up and get this over with. Soon as I get in the car, I see that my tire's flat. That was already expected. I already knew that was going to happen. So when I drive off, I'm noticing it's doing a weird noise, like it's really grinding on that rim. And I never hear that when it comes to these tires, because I always hear that I see that it's flat and it's always still riding on the rubber. This time it decides to have the rubber come off and it's riding completely on the metal rim. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, like, are you serious? So I'm like trying to get to the Wawa up the street. I'm pacing slow as crap, because I'm like, I don't want it to damage my rim. And I'm not used to doing that because it usually never comes off like that. I was like, the way it sounded, that tire came off the rim. There's no way it didn't. So I get to the Wawa, find out that Wawa air pump is completely out of order. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? I don't have time for this right now. So then I parked in the parking lot because I was like, there's no way I can ride in this rim. I called the tire place back and I was like, I'm having a bigger issue than I realized. And they was like, it's fine. We'll hold the tire. We're here till 7. Just call a tow truck or something and just make it up here. We're fine. So I was like, okay. So I had no choice but to call my sister. I was trying not to talk to my sister this whole time for this whole Friday and today because of the fact that I didn't want to tell her that I went back to work yet because I wanted it to be a surprise because she knows the type of money I make out there. And I didn't tell her I was already thinking about going back to work. So this whole story, she didn't know anything about. So all she knew was when I called her, I told her I had a tire issue and I needed help because I had no choice but to call her at that point because it's Saturday. I'm trying to find people outside at the Wawa to help me. Nobody's able to help me. One guy tried to help me and he didn't know what he was doing most of the time and he had to get back to work. He was a worker at Wawa. So he tried his best to help me and then he had to go back to work and it still didn't get done. So my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he was able to come out and help me and he took the tire off and he drove me up to the shop and they put the tire on and got everything done. We was back before 7 o'clock, but it was stressful. It was so stressful for me to have to keep, waiting to see if somebody was going to help me. I had my kids with me, and it was just like, I didn't know if I was going to make it by 7. And I was panicking. I was really, really panicking. So it got done. I'm so thankful for that. It got done, and it was done on time. My brother-in-law, he's always a lifesaver when it comes to when I need help with anything, because he always comes through. So I was grateful for that. So my husband, he was trying to help. I called him, and he was supposed to come out to help me, but there's a whole nother story I got to tell you on that. I'm going to save that for another video, but he was trying to come out there and help me, and he offered, and he was actually going to pay for the towing and everything like that. But mind you, my husband doesn't know where I live, because I'd never told him when I moved and sold my house. So like I said, that's a whole nother story in itself that I got to tell y'all. But he never made it out. He said he had to go do poker. So I didn't want to mess up his schedule anyway. So I wasn't going to stress him about it. Plus, I have no idea if he know how to do a tire. So I was just like really not stressing. I needed somebody that knew what they was doing. And I knew my brother-in-law knew what he was doing. And he was able to come out there and help me. So I was so grateful for that. So we got it done. Finished up my day. I'm tired. I'm hopefully done with the stress. I got a tire, another used tire in my car. Hopefully I can deal with that for a while. I hope nothing else happens, because I still got to go out there and work. I didn't work today. Today's Saturday. I didn't work today. So I only worked yesterday, and I made that 202. And today I had to deal with all this stuff, so I didn't have no chance to go to work. And tomorrow I'm definitely going out and spending a whole day again. That's how I end up doing. I don't like just doing partial shifts. I when I go out there, I go hard. I don't sit there and waste time doing 5 to 9s and stuff like that. I go out there and make my money. I don't play about my money. So I make sure I'm out there like at least by noon, and I'll go until the latest I can go. Like if the orders is still popping after 9, I will stay after 9. I don't mind going until midnight. So last night I just had to get off the road at 9 when my clock was over, but if there's orders still popping, I will still be out there. Seriously. As long as the kids are fine, we're out there. And they're used to doing that anyway. So long as everybody's safe, we're fine. So, yeah. That's my story. It's a lot. And then, mind you, remember I told you I didn't want to tell my sister because I wanted to surprise her what I made at Grubhub last night? So I finally, once I got done with the tire, and my brother-in-law finished putting it back on, and I was able to get back home and finally just breathe. When I was able to just finally breathe, I called my sister, and I was like, okay, I got a lot to tell you. And she was like, okay. So I was like, I had to dodge your calls yesterday because she was trying to call me while I was out there working. And I did not want her to know that I was out there working because I wanted to surprise her. So I was like dodging her calls, and she's taking offense to it and stuff like that, messaging me back to back with craziness. And I was just like, no, I had to dodge you yesterday because I didn't want you to know something. My sister, if she wants to find out something, she's going to keep digging. So I was like, if I got on that phone and she heard that I was on the road, even if I wasn't telling her that I was Grubhub, and she was going to try to pinpoint what I was exactly doing, and she wasn't going to give up until she did. So I was like, I can't answer the phone. I can't answer her messages. I can't tell her I'm still in the car. So, because the first time she called me that day, I was already running errands, but that's when I was already starting doing orders. And I just told her, I'm out taking care of business, taking care of some things. And she was like, oh, okay. So she didn't think nothing of it at that time. But if she had called back, knowing that I stay home all the time, if she had called back and I was still out there on the road, she would have figured out I was out there working. Because she knew my money was real short right now, because I tell her all that stuff already. So she already know if she knew I was out there still in the car, she would have been questioning, why are you still in the car? So I didn't tell her until today. And right before I turned on the camera to record this, I had just got off the phone with her to tell her the whole story and told her how much I made. I told her all the situation that led up to what the tire was doing before today, and She knew the part of me having to call her when the tire actually came off the rim, because I had to call her for that to get to her husband. And I just talked to her about the regular stuff from there. I didn't tell her anything about working. I didn't tell her anything about, anything from the day before. So she only knew as of the point of, I'm at Wawa and I need somebody to help me with my tire. And that's all she knew. So when I came home, I finally told her the whole story, and I finally got it off my chest, and I finally told her, and it surprised the crap out of her. She was like, what? I said, she was really anxious. I'm going through the whole story, and my sister's like, how much you made? How much you made? How much? And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, that's the punchline of the story. Hold on. So I finally told her the punchline. She was like, really? Because my sister does, I think, Postmates. Is it DoorDash or Postmates? I think she does DoorDash or Postmates. And then my other sister that lives next to her, she does Postmates or DoorDash. I don't know which one, because I don't do none of them. I just do only ones I have done. I signed up to DoorDash, I think, and I never did it. I did probably like one day and did a couple of orders, and I didn't care how they had their setup. But my thing was always Uber Eats and Grubhub. But I only do mainly Grubhub now because Uber Eats don't pay that much, and I don't like the restaurants they go to. They're just fast food restaurants and stuff like that. So if they paid more, I will be on it. It's still on my phone. I will do it if I can't get to Grubhub. I definitely will. But it's always my backup. But as far as my go-to, my all big one, that's my Grubhub. And I'm serious when it comes to Grubhub because I can make that money with no problem. So, yeah. Sounds like a lot, I guess. To me, it's a lot. It was very stressful. I've just now got home right before I turned this on. I'm so dying to get in my bed. I was too tired to even do any of this last night. I wanted to do this video last night, but I was so tired I couldn't even turn on the camera. I was just like, I'm going to sleep. So I finally wanted to get it done this time. I'm still extremely tired. I'm stressed out, and I'm just glad I got the tire taken care of. So that did take a lot of weight off my shoulders, but I'm about to go to sleep. I'm going to sleep. I'm getting off this thing, and I hope y'all enjoy the story. I have all kinds of stories that are soon to come, so I hope you're game for it. But I will see y'all and talk to y'all soon. Thank you for watching. Good night.